All right, guys, today what we're going to be looking at is on the Chevrolet Cruze models, how to remove the wiper arms and realign them. And a lot of times it's the alignment that's a challenge. Both the arms on this vehicle are not in alignment. I'll show you over here. If we walk over towards the passenger side, it's particularly evident. And we come down and we look just straight down here, we can see the problem where the tip of this wiper blade is coming in. If we go right over on this side and zoom in, it's causing damage to the cowl piece here. Now the current owner is not the original owner, so something happened with the previous owner here to get these out of alignment. We're going to pull them off. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm going to show you how you do the alignment. All right, guys, just a quick view of the service manual for this procedure we're going to do today. The one we're working on is a 2012 Chevrolet Cruze P car. It's going to apply to any of these Cruzes for the years in the video title. We take a look here at the windshield wiper arm replacement. We can see how this is held on. There's like a beauty cover or a plastic trim cover. Then you've got a nut on top of that. You got a washer, and then you got the arm itself. And here they talk about taking a small flat-bladed tool to remove that finish cap. That's what I was referring to as a beauty cap. And then they're talking about how with the nut and how you remove this and do the alignment. The main thing we're going to be talking about today is the alignment. Locate the transparent circle with a black dot in the center at the lower windshield blackout area. I'm going to show you that for both the driver and the passenger arms. Position the arm on the pivot shaft so that the wiper blade is centered across the transparent circle. These first two items are the alignment procedure. Lifting the arm portion out while pushing down. Install the arm nut. Hold the wiper arm stationary in position as previously stated. They're referring to these first two steps, keeping it around that circle. Torquing that wiper arm nut down and releasing the assembly and make sure it snaps into the same place. It's going to move a little bit like you guys will see when we get into it, and then repeat the procedure. The torque value on that nut is 18 foot-pounds or 24.5 Newton meters. So let's get to it. All right, to remove the arm, we first got to get this cover off. And if we zoom in on here, we'll see that there's a small notch right here. You can get a tool like a small flathead screwdriver in here. You can prise this guy up. You might have to go, all the way around it to wiggle it off here. Just goes nice and slow so you don't scratch anything. Then you get this guy off. And that will expose the nut that's holding the arm on. Now this is the passenger one. You can get it just like you see here. If we take a look at the driver's side, to get the driver's side, we can see it's obscured with the hood. So if we come over from this side and see behind the hood, we can still see this little beauty cap here. We're going to get this guy. You might be able to get it like this, but I'd recommend you just open the hood up, pop this guy off. But let's go ahead and keep going with the passenger side. So that nut, I believe, is a 15 millimeter. Yep. Now this particular one is awfully rusty. Just want to break the torque on that. Once you break the torque on that, you shouldn't have any problem at all removing the nut. So far, we did the two easy parts of this job. Set these over to the side where we don't lose them. Now, getting the arm off, the service manual, recommends that you use a puller. Now, a lot of times you can just get these things off by wiggling them, but this one with that rusty nut on there, and it probably hasn't been disturbed in a long time, we might have some trouble doing that. We'll give it a try for a little bit. If we can't get it, we'll throw a puller on it. And I don't think we're going to be able to get it to go. Oh, there it goes. Got lucky. You can see inside here, there's some serrations on here that fit into, if we zoom here on this stud, fit into the serrations on here. It's very similar to the lug nut on the wheel, how it holds on. All right, so let's do the alignment on the passenger side. So here's the big reveal. If we go back over to the passenger side, and we're going to have to get this at an angle. So you see this writing that's kind of imprinted here on the windshield. If you follow this back, you'll see this tiny little circle. You're going to have to zoom in on this to make sure this really comes out, but you'll see this tiny little circle that's made into the blackout here. That's the alignment mark for the passenger side wiper arm. And what you're supposed to do is position the arm on that stud we saw such that the arm itself with the wiper is in alignment with that mark. See that? So it never should have been down here, something that a previous shop or previous owner did. They misdid this. It should be way up here, lined up right over the top of that mark. Now let me show you the one for the driver's side. So if we come to the middle of the vehicle, it's probably the easiest way to see this one, and we lift this guy up. You see this, if we kind of zoom in here, you know, we've got this sensor that's inside the dash. Just kind of walk yourself straight down, and then about midway, you'll see another one of these little circles. So we zoom in here, kind of move the camera a little closer. I'll make sure you guys can see that. You see that little circle? That's the driver's side one. So if we lay the driver's side arm down, now we can see this one's also not in alignment, although it's only off a little bit. This one just needs to come down like to there, right? About a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch or so. But the passenger side one was grossly out of alignment. So let me go ahead and pop the hood. All right, guys, just like we did on the passenger side, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this cover off. Just get your small screwdriver on here. Work this guy off. This nut looks a lot better than the passenger side one did. Here and grab my 15mm again. All right, so we could probably wiggle this one off too. All right, guys, there's going to wiggle this guy off now. We got the nut off. We got the cap off. Might have to persuade this one a little bit. You don't have a lot of room to work in here, and I apologize, I'm going to have to block your view for a moment. You don't have a lot of room in here to get like a puller or anything like that. So you just got to hope that you can work it off manually. Maybe if we move the camera a little bit over on this other side because of my arm, see it pop off. All right, so that's how you get them off. Now we're just going to give this guy a little bit of a cleaning first. Make sure these teeth in here are clean. We're just going to get a wire brush, run along here, and then we'll show reinstalling and aligning. All right, we're just going to take a brass brush around here. You could also use a nylon brush. You can use an old toothbrush. Just want to get some of the corrosion and dust off of this. This one's actually in a lot better shape than we saw compared to the one on the passenger side. A pipe cleaner would be good for this too. Didn't bring one over here at the moment. All right, so let's line them up. So remember, we've got that little mark in the beginning, right? And so you got this spring action on the arm that's used for changing the blade, right? So you kind of start with this guy in the extended position. And remember, there's our mark right there. So we're going to come over here. And then we're going to line this blade up. So the action is over on this side in the middle of the vehicle. And line this up so that the blade is sitting right on that circle. And then to make sure we're in the right spot, we're going to go ahead and let the hood down. Not going to close it though, we're just going to let it down. So we've got some more light, and we can make sure of what we're doing here, right? So again, there's our little circle. If we zoom in, just like we saw before, our alignment circle. And you just want to keep trying it on different teeth until you feel like you've got it in this position. Now remember, it's going to have a tendency to want to walk on you. All I'm doing here is I'm trying different teeth positions. Now that's exactly, I think, where I want this for the center. I mean, for the driver's side, right? So right there. Now let's go do the passenger side. So we'll stay right here. We'll do the same thing. Take our brush. Get some of this off of there. You're not trying to get it perfect, guys. You're just trying to get some of the loose scale off if it's there, so that the teeth fit in good. Similarly, we're just going to try and make sure we got that same situation here. Just want to make sure we get any loose scale off. And so same kind of thing here. We're going to put this on here lightly, and then we're going to take a look at our alignment mark over here by the glass. Okay, so there's our alignment mark. We want to position this so that the blade is right on top of it. Right, there's our mark. Position this so the blade's right on top of it. So you might have it like this, a little bit off, like right next to the blade. That's fine. The blade may have some wear. You have to account for kind of things like that. So we'll keep positioning this until we get it where we believe it's as close as we can. Alignment of the splines on the arm with the the splines that are on the shaft for the wiper motor shaft, and then we'll go ahead and position the nut to tighten it down. All right, once you get that where you want it, put the nut back on. You can finger tighten it to start. And then get your wrench back out. Start to crank down on it. Once it feels tight, recheck your circle. So we can see we're right, there's our circle, right? We're like a little bit below it now. So I'm probably going to raise it again. All right, now we got it spot on. As I lift it up and down, it's going to either fall like right next to it or right on it. Just a little bit of the flexing of the blade. So that's good. So now let's torque this guy down. So the nut gets torqued to 18 foot-pounds. And once the nut's torqued, you can put the little cover back on. Just take a little rubber mallet, tap it into place, and you're done. We're going to repeat that process over here with the hood up on the driver's side one. We'll get that done, come back, and I'll show you one last test that you do with running the wipers and cycling them. All right, guys, let's give this a cycle. What we're doing is we're just trying to watch for no interference between the two arms, and we're trying to ensure that our landing spot is what we intended it to land on with our little mark. So there's a little mark right there, but that's our landing spot dead on it. And then if we come over and take a look at the passenger side, there's our little mark right there. So we're just slightly below it, but it depends, right? You let this thing down, it falls down next to it. You let it down, it falls right on it. You let it down, it falls right below it. So there's a little bit of play in this particular arm. That's a different thing. But right now we've got the alignment fixed up, and we're no longer going to have this problem where this guy is hitting into the plastic there. So I hope this helps you out. If you have some questions, you want to leave a comment down below, I'll try to help you out. You got another way that you've used to get this, or maybe a puller if you want to talk about how to use that. If you found this useful or you learned something, go ahead and hit that like button. Otherwise, thanks for watching.